The wild and surging fluctuations of primordial energy swept across the sky above demonic Sound Mountain in an instant. Swish! With a cold glint in his eyes, Lin Dong's arms instantly transformed into dragon arms. With a flick of his azure dragon wings behind him, his figure vanished in a flash, leaving behind numerous afterimages. Like lightning, he appeared before Shen Yun, throwing a fierce punch with no unnecessary flair. As his fist shot forward, the air exploded. A terrifying force instantly enveloped Shen Yun. Feeling the overwhelming power within Lin Dong's punch, Shen Yun's eyes narrowed. Realizing the threat, he immediately clenched his hand, and dazzling golden light burst from his palm, forming a golden shield in front of him. But Lin Dong's dragon fist showed no hesitation. His lips curled into a mocking smile as his punch crashed onto the golden shield. Boom! The immense power erupted, overwhelming everything in an instant. The seemingly solid golden shield only lasted for 2 breaths before cracks spread across its surface. With a loud bang, it shattered completely. Such brute force! Shards of golden light scattered across the sky, and Shen Yun's face darkened. He hadn't expected his defense to crumble so easily under Lin Dong's assault. But despite this, his strength was not to be underestimated. As the shield broke, he gripped his hand, and a black, gleaming spear materialized, humming with deadly intent. With a sharp arc, the spear thrusted directly at Lin Dong's head. Ding! Lin Dong's dragon palm opened, flickering with azure light. With incredible precision, he tightly grasped the spear's tip as it shot toward him. Squeak! The spear tip twisted violently in Lin Dong's palm, producing sparks as it ground against his dragon scales. Yet, the terrifying strength within his dragon-infused palm made it impossible for Shen Yun to pull the spear free. Lin Dong's eyes turned icy cold as his body surged forward. Spinning along the spear shaft like lightning, his legs swept through the air, tearing a blue arc through the sky. With a loud crack, his powerful leg whipped into Shen Yun's body just as he attempted to retreat. Boom! The sound of air splitting rang out as Shen Yun's body was flung back like a cannonball. He crashed into a mountain, embedding deeply into its rock face. After sending Shen Yun flying with a vicious kick, Lin Dong casually hurled the black spear from his grasp. The spear turned into a streak of black lightning, hurtling toward Shen Yun, still wedged in the mountainside. Boom! The spear embedded itself deep into the rock wall, cracks spreading rapidly from the impact. The power was so immense that Shen Yun's pupils contracted. For the first time, he truly grasped how formidable this Dao sect disciple was. In their earlier exchange, Shen Yun had been completely outmatched. How is this guy so strong? Wiping the blood from the corner of his mouth, Shen Yun's eyes flickered with disbelief. He had heard about Lin Dong's duel with Yao Ling, where both were badly injured. But that was because Lin Dong had temporarily boosted his strength with a spirit fruit. However, the present reality was vastly different from the rumors. Shen Yun's gaze quickly darted to the other battle zones. Xia Yin, engaged in a violent standoff, was locked in a ferocious fight. His opponent's massive body, now swelling like a black tower, bore faint tiger stripes, and as his bulging muscles tensed, his punches left deep craters in the ground below. In another corner, the scene was even more terrifying. Uncle Jiang and the Golden Ghost Owl were working together, both life mystique stage experts, unleashing primordial energy fluctuations that tore through the air. Every move they made caused entire mountain peaks to crumble. The sight was utterly terrifying. What made Shen Yun's heart shudder, however, was that despite their combined efforts, the stunningly handsome young man they faced remained unfazed. In fact, he was even counterattacking, constantly breaking through their coordination and seizing every chance to strike back. I only heard that Lin Dong was a disciple of the Dao sect, but who are this tower-like brute and that terrifyingly handsome young man? Their strength is off the charts. Shen Yun's heart grew more uneasy with each passing moment. What had originally seemed like a sure victory now felt like hitting a solid wall. Uncle Jiang and the Golden Ghost Owl should be able to hold off that most troublesome guy. As long as I and Xia Yin can eliminate these two, we can turn the tide. Clenching his teeth, Shen Yun's eyes darkened with cold killing intent. Although Lin Dong and his companions had surprised him, he still had great confidence in himself. Being one of the 8 spirit generals of Yuan Sect was a testament to his power. Crack. With a forceful push, Shan Yuan freed himself from the mountainside, looking slightly disheveled. Is that all you've got? Lin Dong asked with a faint smile, extending his hand. You're celebrating too early. Shan Yuan growled coldly, and his figure shot into the air. His hands moved in a blur, forming seals as vast primordial energy erupted from within him. The surrounding energy of heaven and earth began converging toward him, forming a massive celestial river, nearly 100 meters long, above him. The roaring waters of the river echoed through the air. Let me show you one of Yuan Sect's top martial techniques. The gigantic celestial river twisted in the air like a white dragon, spiraling above Shan Yuan. His eyes turned icy as his seals changed, and with a sudden wave of his palm, the river surged forward. Celestial River Sky-Shattering Palm. Shan Yun's deep roar echoed through the sky as the massive river shot toward Lin Dong like a roaring torrent. The white stream rapidly expanded in Lin Dong's eyes. Without hesitation, Lin Dong's hands formed seals in response. As his seals took shape, the void behind him suddenly tore open, and a faintly visible shadow emerged, breaking through the fabric of space. Great Wilderness Celestial Prison Hand. An ancient, gigantic hand suddenly appeared in the sky, surging with immense power. Without retreating an inch, it collided with the approaching celestial river. Boom! The moment the two forces clashed, a deafening explosion shook the heavens. Wild surges of primordial energy spread out in all directions like a storm, leveling the forest below. Damn it! Though the celestial river was powerful, it was halted in midair. Shan Yun's expression grew darker by the second, and he gritted his teeth. No matter how strong you are, you're only at the 6th Nirvana stage. I'll just wear you down. As soon as the words left his mouth, Shan Yun's seals shifted, and yet another celestial river began to form above him, its momentum even more terrifying than before. Swish! But just as the river started to form, Shan Yun's pupils shrank as a streak of light shot toward him from below. Get lost. As Lin Dong charged fiercely toward him, Shan Yun's eyes flashed with a cold gleam. He raised his palm, preparing to unleash a celestial river to smash into Lin Dong. Buzz. However, just as Shan Yun was about to release his attack, he noticed something strange. Lin Dong's lips curled into an eerie smile. Between Lin Dong's hands, a bizarre and ancient seal suddenly took shape. Stasis. Lin Dong's lips parted slightly, and a faint, almost imperceptible sound escaped them. In that moment, Shan Yun's raised hand froze in midair. Even the glowing motes of light swirling around him stopped, caught in the rays of sunlight. It was as if time and space themselves had trapped him in their grasp. This strange phenomenon lasted for only a fraction of a second. Then, Shan Yun's body broke free from the invisible hold, but his eyes were filled with a sudden, overwhelming terror. Before he could react, Lin Dong's ghost-like figure appeared right in front of him, and a cold dragon palm clamped onto his throat. One of the 8 spirit generals of Yuan Sect? Is that all you've got? The icy dragon palm, laced with the scent of death, gripped Shan Yun's throat, and a mocking voice whispered into his ear. As the freezing dragon palm closed around his neck, a look of fear finally spread across Shan Yun's face. Desperately, he tried to summon his primordial energy, attempting to break free from Lin Dong's grip. Hiss! Hiss! But just as Shan Yun activated his primordial energy, Lin Dong's eyes flashed with a cold smirk. Suddenly, countless black lines emerged from Lin Dong's azure dragon palm, lightning quick, and wrapped themselves around Shan Yun's throat. The moment those black lines made contact, Shan Yun's expression froze. To his horror, he realized that his primordial energy was draining rapidly. The source of this terrifying drain was none other than the hand clamped around his throat. Lin Dong was absorbing his primordial energy. It felt as though Shan Yun's heart was being gripped by an iron fist. His eyes were wide with disbelief as he stared at Lin Dong. He could see that as his energy was being siphoned away, The azure glow around Lin Dong's body was growing even more intense. This realization sent a chilling fear coursing through Shan Yun. He could hardly believe what he was witnessing. Lin Dong not only had the power to absorb his primordial energy, but he was also capable of using it for his own strength. Shan Yun's pupils contracted wildly. A sudden, dreadful thought occurred to him, and through clenched teeth, he managed to gasp out a barely audible phrase. Devouring ancestral talisman? The moment those 4 words reached Lin Dong's ears, his eyes narrowed slightly. In previous battles, Lin Dong had rarely relied on the power of the devouring ancestral talisman. Its properties were too distinctive, and anyone with even a little knowledge of it could recognize the signs. Lin Dong was well aware that if such a treasure were exposed, it would draw countless bloodthirsty eyes. But now that he had revealed its power, he had no intention of leaving any witnesses. If the news of him possessing the devouring ancestral talisman reached Yuan Sect, it would undoubtedly bring endless trouble. Congratulations, you guessed right. Your prize is your life. Lin Dong's smile deepened as he spoke, his voice icy. The smile, however, only sent a deeper chill through Shan Yun's heart. Shan Yun struggled desperately, his primordial energy draining at an alarming rate, and his complexion grew paler by the second. Only now did he fully comprehend the kind of monstrous opponent he had encountered. Crack. With an indifferent look in his eyes, Lin Dong suddenly tightened his dragon palm. A faint cracking sound echoed as Shan Yun's struggling body went rigid. The terrified expression on his face remained frozen, and in his eyes, the last traces of fear and disbelief lingered. One of Yuan Sect's 8 spirit generals had fallen in this remote wilderness. You killed him? Huan, clutching her heavenly phoenix zither, flew over, her voice trembling as she stared at the now lifeless body of Shan Yun in Lin Dong's hand. What else would I do? Lin Dong turned his head, gazing at Huan. The cold indifference in Lin Dong's eyes had not fully faded, causing Huan's face to turn pale. It was clear she had been frightened by this side of him. He hurt you just now. If I didn't kill him, who knows if you'd go back and report me? With all those senior brothers in Dao Sect, do you think they'd let me off easily? Lin Dong's expression softened slightly as he noticed Huan's rare, timid look. His tone became gentler. Maybe killing him is for the best. With the sect competition approaching, the loss of one of their spirit generals will certainly cause Yuan Sect a great deal of pain. Seeing Lin Dong's expression return to its usual gentle demeanor, Huan finally breathed a sigh of relief. She tilted her head in thought before speaking. Not just one spirit general, there's probably going to be 2 of them, along with the Yuan Sect elder. Lin Dong chuckled, then glanced at the wide-eyed Huan and added, since we're taking action, we might as well be thorough. Otherwise, if Yuan Sect finds out, it could cause some serious trouble. Huan hesitated for a moment, but eventually nodded. If it were left to her, she wouldn't have been so ruthless, but she understood that Lin Dong's approach was the most effective. Lin Dong shifted his gaze toward the distant battlefield in the sky. With a cold smirk, he grabbed Shan Yun's corpse and shouted loudly, "Is that all Yuan Sect's people can manage?" Lin Dong's shout rumbled through the sky like thunder, causing the brown-robed elder and Xia Yin, who were still in the midst of battle, to turn their heads in shock. Their faces darkened upon seeing the lifeless body in Lin Dong's grasp. You brat! Do you intend to start a war by killing a disciple of Yuan Sect? The elder, referred to as Elder Jiang, snarled furiously, his face twisted with rage. And Yuan Sect is allowed to kill my Dao Sect brothers? Lin Dong sneered in response. Brat, you're dead. Once Yuan Sect learns of this, you won't survive. Xia Yan's expression turned vicious, and his voice rang out sharply. You're the one who's about to die. Just as Xia Yan's voice fell, a thunderous roar, like the cry of a tiger, echoed from ahead. Startled, Xia Yan turned to see Little Flame's body expanding rapidly, transforming into a massive black tiger. Waves of dark energy surged from him, exuding a terrifying aura. The celestial demon tiger clan? Xia Yan's eyes widened in horror as he recognized the black tiger and the strange markings on its body. Celestial Demon Transformation, Tiger Ancestor Star-Shattering Palm. A low, ferocious roar reverberated as the giant black tiger struck with its massive paw. Under the black paw, whirlpools of dark energy formed, connecting to an ancient void, and a terrifying aura of destruction poured forth from them. Golden Mountain Divine Technique. Golden Mountain suppresses heaven and earth. Faced with such a devastating attack, Xia Yan's expression shifted drastically. He didn't dare hold back, unleashing all his primordial energy. A torrent of golden light surged forth, forming a massive golden mountain that descended violently toward the charging black tiger. Black and gold surged madly through the sky, each occupying half of the heavens. Boom, boom. The terrifying force rippled outward, and Xia Yan's body was immediately sent flying hundreds of meters. A mouthful of blood spewed from his mouth as his aura rapidly weakened. In contrast, the massive black tiger that Little Flame had transformed into stood firm, relying on its demonic beast constitution to withstand the impact. The outcome of their fierce clash was clear. Swish. Recovering from the impact, the black tiger's blood-red eyes flashed as it leaped forward, appearing instantly before the weakened Xia Yan. Its massive paw whistled through the air, striking fiercely against Xia Yan's chest. Boom! Xia Yan's body was once again sent flying. The golden light surrounding him rapidly dimmed, and he crashed into the forest below, dragging a deep trench hundreds of meters long across the ground. Gasp! Covered in blood and dirt, Xia Yan struggled to his feet. The arrogance that had once marked his face had vanished, replaced by sheer terror. Without hesitation, he turned and tried to flee. Boom! But just as Xia Yan turned, the black tiger pounced again, appearing before him like a small mountain. Its massive paw came down from above, smashing into Xia Yan's head. The earth trembled as Xia Yan was driven into the ground. A moment later, blood surged from the cracks in the earth, and Xia Yan's aura disappeared in an instant. With a single strike, Xia Yan was killed. The black tiger's form shimmered and transformed back into Little Flame. He grinned savagely, his face twisted into a demonic expression that sent chills down one's spine. What ruthless methods! Elder Jiang had witnessed Xia Yan's brutal death, his eyes filled with rage and resentment as he bellowed, "You will regret this. Yuan Sect's wrath will make Dao Sect pay dearly." "Old fool, don't worry. No one will leave here alive to spread the news," Little Mink said with a faint smile in response to Elder Jiang's furious outburst. "I admit I misjudged my target this time. But even if I can't deal with you, do you think you have the power to stop me from leaving?" Elder Jiang retorted with a furious laugh. "If we're going to settle this, there's no need to hide our true identities anymore, is there?" A smile spread across Little Mink's handsome face as his hand seal shifted. Waves of purple-black light surged from his body, and then, a pair of massive purple-black bat wings, spanning hundreds of meters, unfolded from his back, blocking out the sky. At the same time, a terrifying aura, unique to his race, spread outward. That is, the pupils of Elder Jiang and the golden ghost owl constricted as they saw the enormous wings spreading from Little Mink's back. The golden ghost owl in particular went pale, his eyes filled with terror. Heavenly Demon Mink? Their horrified voices, tinged with fear, escaped their lips. The purple-black light enveloped the sky like thick clouds, even blotting out the sun. A terrifying pressure descended from above, spreading across the land. In the mountain range below, demonic beasts of all kinds shrank in fear, their bodies trembling uncontrollably. The oppressive aura from the top of the food chain made their very souls quake in terror. This was the absolute dominance of a being at the top of the food chain. The heavenly demon mink was a powerful, top-tier demonic beast. Even the ancient and mighty dragon clans held no fear for them. They truly stood at the apex, without any natural predators to challenge them. Creatures of such power rarely appeared in the Eastern Mystery region, but the mere mention of their name was enough to strike fear into the hearts of both strong warriors and demonic beasts alike. Even a mighty sect like Yuan Sect, which ruled supreme in the region, dared not act arrogantly when faced with the heavenly demon Mink clan. Despite Yuan Sect's formidable foundation, The heavenly demon minks were a force that terrified even them. In the past, Yuan Sect had even allied with other super sects to wage war against the heavenly demon minks, but no decisive victory was ever won. Top-tier experts from both sides had fallen, sowing deep enmity between them. However, due to Yuan Sect's powerful influence in the Eastern Mystery region, it was rare for a heavenly demon mink to appear here. Similarly, whenever members of Yuan Sect ventured into the demonic beast territories, they treaded carefully, knowing the immense trouble that could arise if their identities were exposed. It was for this reason that, upon seeing the massive purple-black wings spread across the sky, both Elder Jiang and the Golden Ghost Owl felt their fear overpower their reason, displaying on their faces for all to see. Damn it! This guy is a heavenly demon mink. Elder Jiang's face twisted in terror before shifting to a dark and sullen expression. His eyes flickered with unease. He knew that while Little Mink's strength might be on par with his own, the heavenly demon mink's true power lay in its ability to fight in its original form, making its combat capabilities far more fearsome. Elder Jiang's gaze darted to the Golden Ghost Owl beside him. The owl's face had gone deathly pale, and his body trembled uncontrollably. As a fellow demonic beast, the heavenly demon mink's oppressive presence weighed even more heavily on him. If not for his remaining shred of rationality, the Golden Ghost Owl would have already fled. What are you afraid of? Even if he is a heavenly demon mink, if we join forces, he won't be able to stop us. If we fight separately, we're dead for sure. Elder Jiang snapped coldly. Hearing this, the Golden Ghost Owl's pale face regained a hint of color, and he nodded bitterly. He hadn't expected to encounter such a deadly adversary in the Eastern Mystery region. The heavenly demon minks were a menace that even the higher dragon clans feared. We'll attack together. The commotion will definitely draw attention. Once reinforcements arrive, this guy won't dare do anything reckless. He thinks this place is the beast domain? Once word gets out, Yuan Sect's experts will hunt him down. Elder Jiang said coldly. Agreed. The Golden Ghost Owl nodded fiercely. With demonic Sound Mountain nearly wiped out, and with the Earth Core spirit nectar still hidden within, he wasn't willing to give up so easily. Attack. With a glance exchanged between the two, they made their move. Torrents of overwhelming primordial energy surged forth, transforming into two massive beams, each 100 meters long, sweeping through the sky and bearing down on Little Mink. Like a mantis trying to stop a chariot, Little Mink floated in the sky, the massive purple-black wings behind him gently flapping. His handsome and almost otherworldly face curled into a mocking smile. His slender, pale hand stretched out, and the overwhelming purple-black clouds followed, transforming into a gigantic purple-black palm. This palm, filled with a violent and indescribable power, descended like the hand of a demon god. Boom! As the enormous palm hurtled down, even the primordial energy of the world seemed to explode. The forest below collapsed entirely, leaving a deep palm print, hundreds of meters wide, embedded into the ground. Boom! Boom! The two vast beams of primordial energy unleashed by Elder Jiang and the Golden Ghost Owl shattered instantly under the force of the massive palm. Their combined attack failed to halt Little Mink's assault even for a moment. With their all-out attack destroyed, Elder Jiang and the Golden Ghost Owl's expressions changed dramatically. Elder Jiang's eyes flickered with panic, and in the next moment, his advancing figure froze. Without waiting for the stunned Golden Ghost Owl to react, Elder Jiang spun around, turning into a streak of light, fleeing toward the mountains in the distance. You bastard! The sudden retreat of Elder Jiang left the Golden Ghost Owl dumbfounded. His shock quickly turned to fury, and he cursed aloud. Just as he was about to flee as well, Little Mink sneered, his hand grasping downward. Heavenly Demon Claw. The sky split open, revealing a crack that resembled the maw of a demon. From within that rift, a massive purple-black claw emerged, whistling through the air as it reached for the Golden Ghost Owl. Seeing the claw, the Golden Ghost Owl's face turned deathly pale, and he fled without hesitation. His strength had never been on par with Little Mink's, and now that Little Mink was using his heavenly demon mink powers, he knew he had no chance. All he could do was run for his life. But little Mink had no intention of letting him escape. After revealing his heavenly demon Mink form, he was determined to leave no loose ends. The giant claw tore through the sky, enveloping the golden ghost owl. The surrounding space twisted like a prison, and the claw firmly grasped the golden ghost owl's body. Boom! The claw's crushing force turned the golden ghost owl's body into a cloud of blood mist, his desperate screams echoing through the air. Though his physical form was destroyed, a sudden flash of light burst from the blood mist, a streak of rainbow light darting away. The golden ghost owl had cultivated a demon spirit, and while his body was gone, he had not yet perished. Trying to run? Before the streak of light could escape, it was engulfed by a purple-black beam and captured by little Mink. Master Heavenly Demon Mink, spare me. I'll give you the Earth Core Spirit Nectar. The struggling rainbow light pleaded desperately, the golden ghost owl's voice filled with terror. Too late for that now. Little Mink sneered, clenching his hand. The purple-black light transformed into runes, sealing the demon spirit of the golden ghost owl. The capture of the golden ghost owl had happened in the blink of an eye. The overpowering might of the heavenly demon Mink left Lin Dong and the others speechless. It was clear now why the heavenly demon Minks were considered one of the top demonic beast clans. Their strength was unmatched by any other. Second brother, what about that old bastard? Little Flame's deep voice echoed as his gaze turned toward the horizon, where Elder Jiang was fleeing. Outrunning a heavenly demon Mink? How ridiculous! Little Mink scoffed. With a powerful flap of his enormous wings, a fierce wind erupted, and his figure vanished in an instant. A moment later, purple-black light filled the sky in the direction where Elder Jiang was fleeing. That speed is terrifying, Lin Dong muttered, a bit shaken as he witnessed Little Mink's near-instantaneous movement. He grinned. Despite Little Mink's usual boastful attitude, it was clear that his abilities were as impressive as his words. With this level of strength, he could undoubtedly dominate unless facing the leaders of some of the top sects. Boom, boom. From the distant sky, violent fluctuations of primordial energy rippled out, indicating Elder Jiang's desperate resistance. However, it only lasted a few minutes before gradually fading away. Then, the sky shimmered with purple-black light, and Little Mink's figure reappeared before Lin Dong and the others. His massive wings slowly retracted into his body. Finished? Lin Dong smiled as he looked at Little Mink. When Lord Mink steps in, what can these small fries do? Little Mink grinned smugly. With a casual wave of his hands, two purple-black orbs appeared, faint roars echoing from within them. They were the essence spirit of Elder Jiang and the demon spirit of the golden ghost owl. These two life mystique stage experts had now become prisoners in Little Mink's hands. So these are their essence spirit and demon spirit. Lin Dong gazed curiously at the orbs in Little Mink's hands. Through the purple-black glow, he could see the two figures within, struggling frantically in a futile attempt to break free from their seals. Next to him, Huan watched in shock. She had met Little Mink when Lin Dong first entered Dao Sect, but never imagined that he possessed such terrifying power. And even more astonishing was that Little Mink was a member of the heavenly demon Mink clan, which had once brought even Yuan Sect to its knees. What surprised her most, however, was the dynamic between Lin Dong, Little Mink, and Little Flame. Despite Little Mink's overwhelming strength, it was clear that the true core of their trio was Lin Dong. Little Flame, with his fearsome appearance and overwhelming power, instantly became docile when Lin Dong appeared, a sign of the deep respect he held for him. Even Little Mink, who didn't display the same level of obedience, clearly acknowledged Lin Dong's leadership. This strange dynamic between the three piqued Huan's curiosity, making Lin Dong all the more mysterious in her eyes. This demon spirit from the golden ghost owl will be good for Little Flame to absorb. It'll benefit him greatly. As for this old guy's essence spirit, it's yours, Little Mink said with a grin, tossing the orb containing Elder Jiang's essence spirit to Lin Dong. Although your strength is still a bit lacking, with your methods, wiping out this old man's consciousness shouldn't be too hard. Once we find the Earth Core Spirit Nectar, with the help of this essence spirit, you'll have a solid chance of forming your own essence spirit. Hee. Many people at the 9th Nirvana stage struggle to form their essence spirit. Yet with your primordial energy cultivation only at the 6th Nirvana stage, you're already on the verge of it. Imagine the shock when people hear about that. Although erasing the consciousness within the essence spirit was no simple task, little Mink knew that for Lin Dong, it wasn't much of a challenge. Lin Dong took the glowing orb with a faint smile, his palms slightly curling as black lines began to seep from his hand, enveloping the orb. The figure within the orb struggled violently. With Lin Dong's current strength, in a direct battle, he wouldn't stand a chance against Elder Jiang. However, now that Elder Jiang had lost his physical body and his essence spirit was sealed, his power had been reduced by 90%, making him powerless to resist the devouring ancestral talisman's erosion. At this rate, it wouldn't be long before this elder from Yuan Sect disappeared from the world entirely. This time, Yuan Sect has truly suffered a great loss. Lin Dong flipped his hand, storing the glowing orb, and glanced downward with a light chuckle. 2 spirit generals and an elder. Such a loss would surely cause Yuan Sect considerable pain. With the sect competition approaching, the disappearance of 2 spirit generals would undoubtedly weaken their lineup. Little Mink chuckled, and with a wave of his sleeve, a purple-black beam of light shot out, turning the corpses of Xia Yin and Shen Yun into dust. Let's go find the Earth Core Spirit Nectar. Once we get it, we'll leave immediately. Little Flame, you still know the way, right? Lin Dong asked with a smile. Yeah, Little Flame nodded, and then shot off toward the vast demonic Sound Mountain. Lin Dong and the others followed closely behind. The demonic Sound Mountain had lost all signs of life, the air now heavy with the stench of blood. Even the eerie sounds that usually echoed around the mountain seemed much more sinister. The 4 of them flew deep into demonic Sound Mountain. With Little Flame leading the way, they soon reached a hidden part of the mountain. There, embedded in a rock wall, they found a large, dark cave. A glowing array covered the cave's entrance, clearly a ceiling formation placed by the golden ghost owl. This is it. Upon hearing Little Flame's confirmation, Little Mink clenched his fist, and a fierce purple-black beam of light shot out, shattering the array instantly. Given that the golden ghost owl wasn't even a match for Lin Dong in life, let alone his seal after death, it stood no chance against Little Mink. Let's go. With the formation shattered, Little Mink led the charge into the dark passageway, his purple-black energy swirling around him as he sped forward like a shadow. The passage seemed to lead deep into the heart of the mountain. After flying for several minutes, a faint light appeared ahead. In the next instant, the dim passage opened up into a vast space. Before them lay a massive cavern in the center of the mountain. Jagged rocks jutted out in all directions, but what caught their attention was the dense energy swirling through the cavern. As Lin Dong's gaze swept across the cavern, it locked onto the center. There, a large stone pool, several meters in diameter, held a shimmering golden liquid. In a flash, Lin Dong appeared at the edge of the stone pool. It wasn't very deep, and the bottom was clearly visible. The golden liquid rippled gently within, emitting a faint, enticing fragrance. Taking a deep breath of that aroma, Lin Dong immediately felt his dragon spirit wheel and his energy core hum with excitement, something he had never felt before. So this is the Earth Core Spirit Nectar? Lin Dong asked, his eyes gleaming as he stared at the golden pool. Yes. Beside him, Huan nodded gently, her dark eyes reflecting the golden water as she smiled. This golden liquid is formed from the energy deep within the earth, compressed little by little. Most of it dissipates during the process, and only in special places like this can it gather. However, this is technically just Earth Core Spirit water, since it hasn't undergone the final step of condensation and compression. But that step can be done manually. Heh, this girl knows a lot about these things, Little Mink remarked with surprise, glancing at Huan. Knowledge of such treasures wasn't common. There are many ancient texts about the world's treasures in my sect. I've read a few. Huan smiled. Little Mink nodded, and then turned his attention to the golden pool. I'll handle the final step. As he spoke, his hand twisted, and a purple-black vortex appeared above the golden pool. A powerful force erupted from it, causing the golden liquid to surge upward into the vortex. Faint golden light shone from the vortex as Lin Dong and the others watched the golden liquid rapidly condense. As the process continued, the liquid became thicker and more viscous. Splash, splash. After a few moments, the thick golden liquid began to take shape. Finally, for glowing, fist-sized golden clumps appeared before them, floating gently in the air. Lin Dong's eyes widened in surprise as he saw the shapes that had formed. Each golden clump resembled a baby. Golden light radiated from them, giving off an aura of mystery and profundity. The Earth Core's spirit nectar takes the form of a baby, symbolizing the rebirth of the essence spirit. This stuff is incredibly rare, even in the most prestigious auctions in the Eastern Mystery region, Huan said, her gaze filled with wonder as she looked at the 4 golden infants. Little Mink waved his hand, dispersing the purple-black vortex, and the 4 golden clumps floated toward Lin Dong. Perfect, 4 pieces, 1 for each of us. Lin Dong smiled as he looked at the 4 golden clumps. With a wave of his sleeve, 3 of them flew toward the others. Little Mink and Little Flame didn't hesitate to take theirs. Huan, however, hesitated, staring at the golden infant before her. I get 1 too? She seemed to feel that such a precious item might be too valuable for her to accept lightly. If it weren't for your heavenly phoenix Zither, we wouldn't have even gotten into demonic Sound Mountain, let alone found the Earth Core spirit nectar. Take it, Lin Dong said with a smile. Hearing his words, Huan hesitated briefly, but then her bright eyes curved into a smile. She gently nodded and reached out to take the golden clump. The golden light reflected off her beautiful face, making her appear even more breathtaking. Seeing this, Lin Dong also smiled and clapped his hands. This trip had been more than worth it. With an essence spirit and the Earth Core spirit nectar in hand, their gains were abundant beyond expectation.